So what exactly is the shadow self? It's something that should be common knowledge for pretty much everybody in the field of personal development. And essentially, it's like the culmination of all of our unconscious, dark aspects of ourselves, all of the emotional blockages, or the subconscious, unconscious, negative belief systems, and repeating thought loops, and all of this stuff that just gets stuck in our being, in our minds, somewhere in our aura. A lot of it can be stemmed from childhood, early childhood, which is very traumatic for all of us, really, in varying degrees. Just being a human born into this world seems to be pretty fucking traumatic. So, trauma itself can be a generator of stuff that gets caught in the unconscious that becomes the shadow. And left untreated, it can be the result of your actions and addictions and thoughts and all these different impulses, and it can actually, if left unchecked, trauma in early childhood could get stuck in the shadow and have a negative impact for the rest of your life. Unfortunately, a lot of humanity doesn't do much work on themselves and isn't too observant, but I do believe a growing number of people are actually getting into personal development. They want to become the best they can be. They want to be the very best they can be so they can help other people, so we can actually raise the vibes here and make some positive change in this world. So imagine there's a traumatic event in your childhood and you can't actually consciously remember it, or there's a thought pattern or a belief system that gets imprinted into you that is against your best nature, goes against your true nature, your true self, your higher self. And if unchecked, can result in repeating thought loops that for the rest of your life will be a problem. So I think it's very, very important that we are aware of this, and anyone in the personal development field is aware of what the shadow is. If you want to actually win the fight against the evil forces, we've got to win the fight in amongst ourselves, right? And nobody, as far as I'm aware, is actually born with a shadow. We're born sort of like a clean slate, and then it gets imprinted upon us via our parents and the school system, and just being a human in this pretty tough world, right? But it's not all doom and gloom in a way, because once you become aware of the fact that there might be unconscious parts of the self that are the results for or resulting in negative thought loops, it can be empowering, because it's like, now we can do something about it, right? We can take the steps necessary to clear the negative thought loops, or to go within to look at the previous traumas that may have happened in our lives, and through there's a huge variation of methods and modalities that are geared at treating the different aspects of the shadow and healing ourselves, removing these blockages and clearing these emotional wounds, and healing all of this stuff that has been accumulated throughout life. The benefits of doing it, of looking at the shadow and psychologically going inside yourself, are huge, but that's not to say that this is the be all and end all of the personal development world. It's a vastly complex subject, but it's fascinating. Becoming the best version of yourself is something that it seems like a never-ending program. I personally think it's a lifelong commitment to become the best version of yourself, and it's constantly evolving and changing as we get older. We develop more. There's more to learn. There's more things, and the challenges change in their dynamicism, and we can get really quite amazing things, but also very challenging things come across our way. And I am of the belief that you'll never be given anything more that you cannot choose to handle, right? There may be very, very difficult circumstances, and depending on your soul strength, you'll get relatively varying degrees of intensity in your challenges in life. But looking at repeated thought patterns, looking at patterns in our lives, certain things that happen with relationships with people, or looking at where our addictions come from. Why do we have to fill this sort of void within ourselves? Where is it coming from? Is it because parts of our being have been fractured in the past that need to be remedied and healed? And then we can look at exploring what healing modality is right for us, because what works for one person won't work for the other, and vice versa. That's the curious thing about spirituality and personal development, is it is an individual path. Everyone's journey is different, and what is bad for one person could actually be good for the other. And so there's a huge scope, there's huge room for variation here. But in general, it's pretty safe to assume that being born in this traumatic world, you're going to have accumulated some form of trauma, and that it'd be great to work on that if you haven't already. I imagine many people listening to this video are already on the path of personal development, and even having gotten 5 minutes into this video, I imagine that, yeah, this is you're either somebody who's on the path or ready to start moving in that direction of healing themselves and becoming the best that they can be. Because if you're someone who's been involved in activism, it's all well and good trying to make change in the external world, and we can make progress, and there can be great things that can be achieved. However, truly, by far, the most powerful change that anyone can make is to look at themselves, look at how they can improve themselves, look at their weaknesses, their flaws, and heal them, improve them. And of course, you can talk about your strengths as well, but as this video is about the shadow, it's about the negative parts of ourselves, then we're sort of focusing on that, right? And I can see it in myself. I can see it through how I developed many addictions, and thankfully I've overcome many addictions as well. And there's a process to go through that. And maybe part of my journey was to get traumatized, then get addicted to certain substances, trying to deal with the trauma and just coping through life. But then actually finding better ways to deal with the trauma, clearing some of the trauma, going through these hard experiences, traumatic experiences, so that I can help others who are going through the same thing. And that's it. We're humans. We need each other, and we can help each other get through this life. And if you are on the side of the divine, the good guys, and I'm assuming anybody who's following my page is on that side, or at least is curious to come and join us, because that's just the sort of people that I'd like to attract, and the people who I am attracted to, the content that I create, the words that I say, the things that I do. We're all sort of vibing together on this vibe team for the divine. So I'll make another video, I think, talking about some of the practices and things that I do to work on myself, and things that I found that have been very useful. But just to put it in perspective, I broke a addiction to alcohol. It's been nearly 6 years, over 2,000 days. The other day, recently, I was just going over it in my mind. I was like, yep, it's been over 2,000 days since I've even touched alcohol. I'm not even talking, like, not even a sip, nothing, nada. Also, have been addicted to tobacco in the past. Now, I don't smoke tobacco anymore, and that's great. That was such a great thing to get out of my life. I've been addicted to caffeine before. Thankfully, I'm not addicted to it. Occasionally, I can enjoy some caffeine, but it's not like it used to be. It was like, I need to have a coffee in the morning, right? I don't feel right without having a coffee in the morning. So we have all of this power inside of us. I mean, we're born with such great potential, and I do believe that any of the negative stuff is accumulated that just blocks the natural flow of positivity and energy and a connection to the divine, connection to God. And we just get rid of the stuff and just allow that beautiful energy to flow, and life can get quite amazing. And then the closer you get to God or the divinity, and the more you are aligned with the divine and the divine plan here, and the more your actions are aligned with that, the more amazing life can be, really. So it's not like it's just we do this self-work because it's the right thing to do and we think, we're going to become better for it. There are actually rewards, from my experience, for following this path and sticking to it and actually getting better and better and better, more evolved, being able to be of service to a greater magnitude. And then you look at how, like, the more evolved you are, the more spiritually developed you are, I do believe the greater free will you have, the more permission you are granted to change things here in varying degrees, depending on what your skills and talents are. So it's all quite fascinating, very interesting. And myself, I'm still in the process of awakening, developing, as pretty much everybody is, unless they've achieved some level of enlightenment. I'm assuming as well, once you are enlightened, it's still progression until, I don't know, I'm not exactly sure what the end point is. Don't know if there is an end point, at least in this incarnation, on this planet. Is there truly an end? I don't think so. I think it keeps going, and keeps going, and keeps going. It's almost beyond the realm of thinking, the fact that there might be an end to developing. If you look at some of the books, The Law of One, they have an interesting philosophy of how, being of service to self, what the progression is through that throughout different densities and dimensions, but that's sort of beyond the scope of this video that's about the shadow. So look within, guys. Meditation can be a really, really great tool to analyze yourself, and there's different ways of meditating. It's not just done for stress relief, it can also be done for deep introspection and awareness of your thoughts. Because imagine if there's trauma that happened in childhood and it just keeps repeating these thoughts over and over your head. I'm not worthy, I'm not good enough. All these things that just will keep repeating and repeating and repeating in your head. And if nothing's done about them, will change how the rest of your life manifests. So I think I'll keep it at that for now. This is a sort of an introduction to the concept of the shadow. And I'll be creating a bit more content like this. This is a bit more deep and psychological and spiritual as we move into different parts of this battle, this war that's going on for the minds and souls of humanity. I think the greatest change is from within, and if I can help anybody improve their lives in any kind of way, then the work that I'm doing is successful. This video has been successful. If even just one person has watched this video and now is come out of it slightly more illuminated and empowered, and might just look into a bit more of the shadow, look a bit more into themselves, then it's been successful, and I'm very happy that I've made it. So yeah, stick around on the channel, guys. You're going to see quite a few changes happening as well. The general flow and content that's coming out from me and my pages is going to change and evolve and grow and develop. So stick around for all of that, and we'll see you next time.